Okay, well, welcome everybody, San Ramon residents. This is a continuation of a series of YouTube videos we're doing to keep our residents informed about the COVID crisis going on. Today is all about the media and hopefully the trustworthy sources of information you can get about what's going on. And we'll go around the room here really quickly and they can each introduce themselves quickly and what they do. So I'll start with Steve.
Hi, thank you, Mayor. I'm Steven Spedowfski. I'm the Deputy City Manager and also the Public Information Officer for the city.
Simone.
I'm Simone Finney. I'm the Communications Analyst for the city.
Denton.
Denton Carlson. I'm a captain with the San Ramon Police Department and the Police Department's PIO and Social Media Manager. Also the Emergency Management Director for the City of San Ramon.
Jon.
I am a reporter with the East Bay Times Bay Area News Group, and San Ramon is one of the cities I cover.
Great. Ryan?
I'm a reporter from DanvilleSanRamon.com and the Pleasanton Weekly, and we cover news in the San Ramon Valley.
Great. Patrick?
I am a resident of San Ramon and one of the hosts of the weekly show Neighborhood Watch, which can be seen on YouTube, largely around subject matter in the San Ramon area.
You've been doing that for how long now?
We've been doing that about 3 years now and have about a little over 11,000 followers.
And you do it every week?
Every week.
That is amazing.
Unless we're on vacation.
So, what I'd like to have you guys share with the residents is how you communicate information and how they can get good information about what's going on with COVID and some of the challenges, and also for you guys to get to meet each other so you have sources of places to go to get good information. So if I could start with Steven, how do you communicate information to our residents about what's going on?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. And I wanted to state that, one of the city's main goals is to make sure that we're providing timely information regarding any activities that are going on in the city of San Ramon. And we do this through whatever channels are available to us. And Simone will go over some of those methods that we use. We want to make sure that the residents know that the city is a one-stop shop for all verified information. Even if we're not the responsible agency, we make sure that we get the information that we can to the residents. And one of the main tools that we have been using, in particular with some of the interesting times that we're going through, whether it was the power shutoffs back in the fall or now with the COVID crisis, is we've been using the city's website as the main tool for communicating some of the information that we gather not only through the city, but also through other agencies. And what I'd like to do is share the screen really quick here and go through the city website and make sure people know where to look for the most recent information, not only for COVID, but what's happening with the city. So if you go to sanramon.ca.gov, you'll come to our city's homepage here. And if you scroll down here, we have two sections. We have a what's new section, and right now it's chock packed full of COVID updates. And we also have a hot topics section where you can scroll through, and pretty much every single one of these tabs will take you to a very detailed page about what the topic is and what's going on in the city. Now, when we have a major event occurring and something that we know that people frequently need to go to, we do create a banner here, and we have a COVID-19 update banner. And if you click on that, it'll take you to our COVID-19 page. And if you scroll, you can see we have a lot of tabs here. Again, as we come across information and as other agencies post information, we put it all in this one page. So if you want to go to the district and find information, or Supervisor Anderson or Senator Glazer or the county, you can click any one of these tabs and find out information from those agencies. For example, for the city, I'd like to show the local takeout and delivery. That was a very large issue initially, is, where can I get food? Who's open for takeout? How can I get takeout? Well, you click on the page there, and as it loads up, we've included every restaurant that we've come across, and fast food through sit down. Now they're takeout, and have a tab for each one, linking their menu, the order number, the hours, and their delivery methods.
Great, Steve.
And that's it. So once again, go to the city's webpage for all the latest updates and click the COVID button.
I'm going to move around the table here. I'm going to go to Ryan. Ryan, what are some frustrations and ideas you have about covering COVID, and what are some things you need that you think you could be more effective or we could be more effective communicating to you?
Sure. Well, there's definitely a lot of misinformation going around about this. That's something that unfortunately predates the pandemic, but now it can be particularly dangerous when misinformation like this gets spread. I think one of the important things people should keep in mind is that they should rely on multiple sources whenever possible. I know when we write stories that relate to coronavirus, we primarily go to trusted sources who we rely on the experts. And for us, that means Contra Costa Health Services, who in turn do their own research and get their own information from both state health services and from the Center for Disease Control. And I think it's just something important to keep in mind is that the best way to get information is to use multiple sources whenever possible.
Great, thank you. Simone, what are you doing? What are you doing to communicate to residents, and what are you hearing about the communication process?
Yeah, I mean, I can do a quick overview of the different communications channels that the city uses. There's a real mix of traditional media and digital media. If you live in the city, there's some print things that you will get just by default of living in the city, things like public notifications for meetings when there's a major event. City newsletter goes out quarterly to all residents. You'll get our seasonal rec guides, things like that. We're seeing a lot of engagement with our email communications right now. So if you're not signed up for the city's email distribution list, I would definitely encourage you to check that out. We'll go ahead and put links to all of these things in the description of the video later, because I know that it's a lot to try and write them down as we go.
Exactly, thank you.
But if you go to the homepage of the city website and scroll down, there's a email sign up link right there where you can just put your email address in and click sign up. And then when you do that, it gives you an option to sign up for about 75 different choices of topics that you might be interested in. So you can really customize what types of communications you're getting. We are doing weekly and sometimes more frequent COVID-19 update emails, and those are going to go to anybody who's on our city email list. So that's pretty crucial information. So we want to make sure everybody gets that. We do have a number of social media platforms we're on. If you are on Nextdoor in the city, there's nothing you need to do to sign up to get updates from the city. As a public agency, all of those posts will automatically go into everyone's feed. And you'll see things from lots of different departments there. If you are a Facebook user, there's 3 different pages you can follow. And again, I'll put these links in the description of the video. But City of San Ramon will share updates on news and events. We're also doing some kind of more fun San Ramon at home posts right now, just to create some more positive stuff in the community and celebrate the things that neighbors are doing to support each other. The San Ramon Police have a Facebook page, and so does San Ramon Public Works. And it is National Public Works Week right now, so if you want to give them a follow, I know they would appreciate that. If you are a Twitter user, there are 3 feeds you can check out. City of San Ramon, that's one of the ones that's updated most frequently. San Ramon Police, and then of course Captain Carlson, SRPD Carlson. And then if you're an Instagram user, we've got the City of San Ramon's feed. Right now we're doing activities for our virtual Art and Win Festival there in our stories every day. And we're putting new activities and crafts and things like that there. The San Ramon Police have Instagram. So does one of the police dogs, Canine Egon, and that's just a good feel-good channel. And Public Works has one as well. Great. And then the other social media channel to check out is our YouTube channel. And we are streaming public meetings. We are adding our virtual mayor's breakfasts every week. And those are organized in playlists. So if you just want to see a specific type of video, you can go and check out that playlist.
Great. Jon, you represent what was referred to as the print media, delivering newspapers. I still get the Contra Costa Times or the East Bay Times on my doorstep every day.
Well,
I think
thank you. Thank you.
When you get to be older like I am, you just break old habits. But I also get the electronic version because that's also easier to email stories. So people for like $10 a month can sign up and receive the East Bay Times, as I understand it.
Right.
So tell me, what is your biggest difficulties and obstacles in communicating good information to residents?
You know, as a community journalist, you know, my biggest constraint is working at home and not getting out in the field. I use trusted sources, of course. We just had a rumor today that I got from a colleague on Slack that didn't turn out, so we didn't go with it. But I verified that with the Oakland Unified School District, and so we don't just jump on anything and everything. But you know, there are pluses and minuses of working at home. The pluses are the convenience factor. I can just click on a website, cover a meeting that way. But I'd like to, and as you know, when we took a tour of the school kids, you know, who went to San Ramon City Hall, I like to be out there. I really wish that I could do that, because there's so much more that you can get when you deal with people in person. I actually conduct some interviews via email, you know, and totally email, or text, you know, via text. If I have to reach someone, like a school district superintendent, for a quick reaction about Governor Newsom's budget, I can easily reach them faster by text instead of calling. And but I miss that sort of human element.
Yep. And when you write your stories, by the way, I believe at the end of each of your stories is your name and your email address, correct?
Yes.
So anybody now who can see your face and has heard your voice, if they want to reach out to you, they can email you for follow-up questions, or if they have other stories they want to share.
Yeah.
And I assume that's the same with you, Ryan?
It is, yes.
Great. I'm going to go to Denton last, but I want to go to Patrick, who has a rather unique program of 20 minutes, 30 minutes every week, giving San Ramon residents an update. Tell us what challenges you're having about communicating good information about COVID in particular.
Yeah, a big challenge for us that we've adapted to, like many have, is going from our weekly shows, doing them in person, usually in the backyard around the fire, where we can have genuine good conversation with each other and be a little more spontaneous in some of the topics that we discuss, to now we're a Zoom format, which we know that it's worked out well. It's been actually fantastic. We've been able to do some different things. And as far as the information, how we go about getting it, largely through the city, largely through topics on Nextdoor. And it's really trying to disseminate in those topics, especially the ones around COVID-19. What is real? What is false? What is kind of the alarmism, or people, you know, raising the flag, wanting to feel like they need to report on their neighbors for doing something quote unquote wrong, or do they not have the right information? So we try to gather facts around both sides of something like that. Like the mask thing was an issue, and people reporting for the golf course, on example. And so we go to the golf course and they give us their update that, hey, we are getting information from the county every day. This changes. Here's the latest. So we'll try to get in there and get some facts, be very impartial on the sensitive topics around COVID-19 and the do's and don'ts. And the other side of it's trying to really keep in touch with what the latest regulations are as far as restaurants, who's open, what local business owners might need help, and support, and how we can do that as a community.
Great, Pat. Denton, you have for many years now been sort of spearheading public communications and using social media to first around the issues of police and now emergency services. Share with us some of the challenges and the things you're doing.
Well, I think one of the goals when we started up our social media program, I guess it's been a little bit over 5 years now, is we wanted to create a platform where we can easily communicate through many different avenues and try to reach as many people as possible. And that's always been our goal, and kind of the foundation, the reasoning behind that goal is crisis communication. We wanted to create as large a group as possible that we could reach when it really, really mattered. And, you know, we talk about the crisis that we're in right now with this pandemic, and it really is, and I've mentioned this in meetings that we've been in before, this is completely the opposite of what we're used to dealing with when it comes to police services and crisis management, because usually we're always dealing with something that's fast moving, where the information has to get out and time is of the essence. Whereas this is long, it's drawn out. We're going on month 3 now since this really started to rear its head. And we've been sheltering in place now for over 2 months. So it's completely different, but in a way it's the same because people still crave the information. And so what we've tried to do from the police side is really the same thing that everyone else has mentioned here, is try to dispel the rumors, tried to go to trusted sources to ensure the information that we push out to the public is accurate. And it transitions from any type of situation because we really want to be the authority of verified information that's pushed out to the public in a timely manner. And so when we look at crisis communication from the police department side, we have a specific strategy that we put together for numerous different reasons so that we can reach as many people as possible. If we do have something that was a fast moving incident in San Ramon, we would be pushing out the initial information on every single social media platform, every single email delivery, every single emergency alert that we have. We would be pushing information out on our AM radio frequency, which is 1610. The initial push would go out on everything because our goal is to reach every single person possible with the initial message that needs to be received. We do things a little bit differently here in San Ramon, in that we reserve our emergency text messaging for true emergencies. We try not to overwhelm that system and use it frequently. In a way, it's kind of, if you sound the alarm too many times, people won't listen anymore. I kind of refer to it as the car alarm syndrome, because how many of us really pay attention when we hear a car alarm going off anymore? And to me, that's something that's very, very important, because if we want to use our emergency alert system, we want it to be something that people will pay attention to. So what we do with crisis communication is we go with that initial push. We push everything out to everyone as quickly as possible on every single platform that we have available to us. And that also includes the county community warning system. We have a partnership with Contra Costa County, where if we need to get an emergency broadcast out, that will go through TV sets, through radio, and basically every single thing possible, we have those connections in place to get that to happen almost immediately. Then once that initial push is out there, what we do is we guide everyone back to the police department Twitter feed. Because when you talk about managing a critical incident and crisis communications, trying to push everything out on every single platform is going to be next to impossible. You just can't manage it when information is changing rapidly. So every initial informational push that goes out will also include guidance to everyone who receives it to go directly to our Twitter feed for continual updates. That way it can be manageable for the person who's doing the crisis communication. And as time allows, we will go back to those other platforms and update as we can. So again, the goal with all of our social media interaction is really, it's just to create that base, to create more followers on Twitter, to create more people on Facebook who follow our page, to get more people to pay attention on Nextdoor, because we want the greatest pool possible to receive our message when it really matters. So that's kind of the basis of what we've really been trying to create over the last 5 years.
Great. This is to Ryan, John, and Pat. What are some things that the city can do to help you do a better job in informing residents? What questions do any of you have, or suggestions or improvements can the city do to do a better job of getting you information so you can report information out more accurately? Anything come to mind? You're not a shy group.
Well, I think you've
I'll let Ryan
been
go.
doing a pretty great job so far. I have been checking in the San Ramon coronavirus update page, and I think the San Ramon Police Department's Twitter page, I check every day. It's a great source for check in, see if there's breaking news. I think just keep doing that, keep outreaching to residents on social media and making it as accessible as possible.
John? Oh, I'm sorry.
I would
ahead,
echo Ryan. I think you're doing an excellent job. I get, the emails from San Ramon about the council meetings coming up. I check Twitter. Your COVID updates. I think you just moved one about less than an hour ago, or half an hour ago. You're really on the mark, really on the ball. So just keep it up.
Pat, you were going to say.
Yes, I echo some of those sentiments. I think the communication's been great. I like the mayor's breakfast, the virtual mayor's breakfast. Those provide a lot of information. San Ramon Police, very active on Facebook posts and on Nextdoor with updating the community with information. I think that's fantastic. What we'd like to see, and if you guys could report maybe some of the recent crime stats. I know that some crimes are down and others are up, and generally we see the ones that more on Nextdoor, for example, that are car break-ins and things like that haven't seemed to be occurring. But I think it would give the people a sense of security and ease of what's going on crime-wise. And from that standpoint, I think as we start to come out of this, the city, people would like to see really the reinforcement of what is open, what are the facts, what can we do, and give that feeling of openness again, because everybody right now is just kind of on edge with what we can and can't do.
Well, one of our purposes today is you now know who you can call directly, Denton.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So, but I think he probably wants to give you a quick response anyway.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things is that all of us, Steven, Simone, myself, we're always available. Sometimes it seems, I won't say 24/7, but maybe 18.5 to 19/7. And maybe that's about right. We're always available. Anybody in San Ramon who uses Nextdoor, they can always private message me, and they know how to reach me via there. I get plenty of those all week, and we always respond to every single one. And then also, I'm fairly active on Twitter. That's usually the social media platform that I use the most. If somebody's on Twitter and they do a search for Captain Denton Carlson, I'll come right up, and they can feel free to send me a direct message anytime. I kind of make it a rule that I don't believe in the bullhorn strategy when it comes to law enforcement social media. It's got to be a two-way platform. And because if we just spew out information but we never respond, then it doesn't serve a purpose. So I'm always there available. One thing I wanted to mention, if anybody is curious about our crisis communication, we do have a quick link on the PD's homepage that explains our crisis communication platform. Included on the bottom of that page is my email address. If anybody has any questions, they can always reach out to me directly. We're always here to respond and make sure to control the rumors. And that's one of the biggest challenges that we always face, is making sure that the information is accurate, but we're here to respond all the time.
Thank you. I really appreciate each one of you making some time out of your day. I know especially the media ones are very busy today. I really like the fact that you've met each other and know who each other are, and hopefully we'll be comfortable in reaching out if you need stuff. And same for the city, knowing these are the people who are the front line communicating information to our residents. So any last minute questions, or we'll call it a day?
Mayor, I'd also like to, I don't think we mentioned that residents can email us anytime at info@sanramon.ca.gov. Whatever question you have, as I mentioned earlier, if we don't know the answer and if we're not the responsible agency, we'll try to answer and or point you to that agency. And also phone 973-2500. We were even distributing flyers to seniors' doorsteps to make sure that those without internet connections and that still get their news from traditional sources knew what resources to call. So we're trying to cover every single channel that we possibly can.
I want to give each of our guests a chance to one more time say their name and their email address. If folks want to reach them, I'll start with Pat.
Yes, Patrick Hansen with Neighborhood Watch. I can be reached at pjhans@yahoo.com.
Thank you, Pat. Ryan, how do folks reach you?
I'm Ryan Degan at danvillesanramon.com and the Pleasanton Weekly. Best way to reach me is probably email. That's rdegan@embarcaderomedia.com.
Thank you. And John, folks want to reach you. John, if folks want to reach you, do you know how to get a hold of you? looks like his screen is frozen. I have to circle back to Jon. As I mentioned, all of his articles have his name and his email address at the end of them. So, hope you guys have a great day. Thank you very much for participating. Steve, thank you for coordinating this today.
No problem.